welcome to another episode of Connect with HSPC. Happy to be here today for this latest episode of our webcast series. My name is Melissa Graves, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Halton Suicide Prevention Coalition. Joining me today is Dara Iser-Clancy from the Distress Center Halton and a member of the Halton Suicide Prevention Coalition. We're really excited to have Racheal Daugilis here with us today. Racheal is the crisis team lead for 988 Suicide Prevention in Coast. 988 was launched Canada-wide in November as a national suicide crisis line, and we are very happy to hear about this resource being launched across the country, and we're looking forward to learning more about 988 and how it can be accessed in our community. So welcome, Racheal, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is such an exciting time, Racheal, with this new national service. Can you just give us a brief overview of 988 and a little bit about the services that 988 provides to us?
Yeah, for sure. So 988 responders are trained to conduct thorough risk assessments while providing folks with empathetic and non-judgmental support. We utilize a client-centered approach and work collaboratively together to reduce mental distress. This looks different depending on the person's needs. So we work with the caller to explore current areas driving their pain and utilize active listening along with open-ended questions to explore how we can best support the person on the line. This can include like providing validation, exploring strengths and coping skills, and additional avenues of support like exploring referrals as well. The main purpose of the line, though, is to prevent suicide.
Absolutely. And it's certainly helpful that it's an easy 3-digit number. Absolutely.
That's definitely the beauty of 988. It's a rememberable number. And there's lots and lots of responders on at a time, so you will never go to voicemail.
Oh, so good to hear, because when you need help, you need it now. So who should and when should someone call 988? Just looking at, is it just for adults? Or what happens when a youth reaches out? Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure. So anyone who is struggling with their mental health are encouraged to reach out to 988. So while it is while it is a suicide prevention line, it's not solely for people who are thinking about suicide. We recognize that lots of people who experience mental health struggles may have passive thoughts of SI. 100% you can reach out. But it's not only for the person in distress themselves, people who are concerned about their loved ones, who are thinking about suicide, maybe an active addiction, maybe their loved one is experiencing a mental decline. Those concerned loved ones are encouraged to reach out as well. Responders can support with coaching through how to have that conversation with a loved one, or connect with them about, next steps and how they can best support their loved one moving forward. For the youth that you asked about, so agencies have the option to opt in. So there's about 30 or 40 actually, some odd agencies across the nation that are across Canada that are working in the 988 line. So you have the option to either opt into supporting youth or out. So CMHA Halton has opted in to support youth. And we do support youth as well. And that's at the beginning. And at the beginning, when you first call 988, you'd receive an automated message where you would identify whether or not you're above 18 or below.
Oh, fabulous. Good. And so child and youth can reach out and they can be directed to a youth specific line.
Yes. Well, so yes. Of course, we assess immediate risk before redirecting. And it really kind of it's very client centered. So if the youth is called and they want to remain on the 988 line, we wouldn't force them to be transferred to a youth-focused service. Of course, folks who work with youth are the experts in youth, so we would try to encourage it. at the end of the day, if the youth wants to stay on the line with a 988 responder, we would work with them for sure.
That sounds fabulous. Really well
Mhm.
organized. Very encouraging.
I think the concept is no wrong door, or
Yeah.
every door is right, essentially, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's really encouraging for anyone of any age to reach out to.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing that. I didn't know that.
No problem. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks so much, Racheal. Can you tell us a little bit about what happens when someone calls or texts 988? So who's responding to the calls or the texts, and what is the sort of process that happens when somebody picks up and answers?
Yeah, so 988's call routing is done through area code. So depending on where you're calling from, depending on what your area code is, they try to connect you with a responder that is closest to your area code. So that way, when the responder is exploring external or additional resources, if again, that's what that's what the individual on the line wants, they're more aware of the local resources. However, there's a queue process. So if it doesn't get answered by your local, it goes to the regional. If it doesn't get answered by regional, it goes to provincial, and then provincial to national. When you first call, you'll hear like a brief automated message letting you know that you're in the right place. You'll be able to choose to speak to someone in English or in French. And callers are also able to, as I said, identify if they're under 18 or if they are Indigenous.
Okay, thank you. That's really helpful. And the people who are responding, what type of background and training do they have?
So a wide variety. It really depends on the agency that is operating out of 988. So CMHA, we are responsible for hiring our own 988 responders. CMHA Peel, for instance, they would be responsible for hiring their own 988 responders as well. But the expectation is that you are in some type of, you know, I shouldn't speak for the other agencies, but you know, on our team we have a variety of like mental health and addiction workers, social workers. Yeah.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you so much.
Am I up again?
Yeah, it's your turn again.
My turn again. Okay. It's supposed to be a more casual fireside chat type. So I was intrigued with what you two were talking about. So excellent. Yeah, it sounds like you've got an amazing array of people right across Canada with different skill sets and helping out on this line. So it's such an exciting time. So help us understand. It's like someone could call 988, or at what point would they call a local crisis line like Coast? But because you look after Coast as well, or Rock, or for example, Distress Center Halton. Would you be able to speak to what the differentiator is?
So I think it's kind of sorry, I just had a pause here for a second, had a hold. We're in the middle of reno, so everybody's using this office to come in and out.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry.
It happens.
I guess I forgot to mention about the youth. Like in terms of when youth reach out to the line, another kind of difference is that when youth reach out, responders are highly encouraged if they are not wanting to be transferred over to a youth specific resource, that responders are highly encouraged to connect with a trusted adult before ending that conversation. So in terms of safety planning with folks on the line, obviously it looks different for adults, but when it comes to youth, it's really encouraged that we connect with a trusted adult on the phone in the moment. For sure, that is important.
Well, thanks for adding that in. Yeah.
Yeah. And the question was
It was,
about when to reach out.
The question was, so there are options now, which is wonderful given where we are as a nation and a community. So when should someone call 988? Or
Mhm.
when should they call, not, and should's a strong word, and when would they call a crisis line like Distress Center Halton or
Mhm.
Rock,
Mhm.
or even Coast, since you look after Coast
Mhm.
as well? Maybe you could explain Coast's role as well as 988,
Mhm.
where Coast fits in.
Yeah, so I think all of these, like all of those lines are great resources as well. So I would never want to discourage anybody from reaching out to those lines. I know that at the Distress Center and at Coast also have very well trained mental health professionals who can assist with risk assessments and safety planning and coaching through coping skills, really being a listening ear, being able to provide that validation to folks who maybe aren't getting it in any other aspect of their lives. But I think the main kind of difference is that 988 is a quick 3-digit memorable number
Yeah.
that folks who are in immediate crisis can easily dial in and ask someone quickly. Somebody who's more familiar with Coast, right? They might have the number memorized and be able to dial it in, or they might have a second to pause and Google the phone number. We're 988. We're really wanting to get that out, that it was quick and easy number to remember. So in that moment of crisis, when your brain is in fight or flight and nothing else is really processing,
Yeah,
easy number to dial for sure.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And
But
that
again,
brings me, go ahead.
I was going to say, but again, no kind of wrong door is. I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to discourage anybody from reaching out to one of their local crisis lines if they're getting the support that they need there.
Mhm.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah. So some people get mixed up between 911 and 988 now, and at what is the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's an and maybe you could explain that. I don't want to set the scenario or lead
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
situation, but perhaps you could talk a little bit about the difference between 988 and 911.
Mm-hmm. So 911 should be utilized for medical emergencies, fires, accidents, and crimes in progress. 988 is not to be used in replacement of 911.
Yes.
It's more if you're in distress and you don't really know what to do, where to go. Use 988. There's no promises that 911 is not going to be involved at the end of the
Correct. Yeah.
conversation if we're not able to um, disarm somebody's plan, or if we're not able to confirm safety. If the person is still in distress by the end of the call, or not even by the end of the call, if the person is still in distress and not able to keep themselves safe, then we would be calling 911. Of course,
Yeah.
with 988 as well, we go from the least intrusive option possible. So we are making every effort to not have to call 911. We are making every effort to get the consent from the person on the other phone, on the other line, to call 911. We don't want to be blindsiding anybody. We want to make sure that this is a process where the
Mhm.
person is going to get the support that they need and that they deserve, versus kind of ambushing them with emergency services.
Absolutely. And that involves all of our distress and crises lines.
Mm-hmm.
911 would be the last option. So we're all on the same page for that.
Amazing.
So some people find because the numbers are so close together, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
is 988 the new 911, or is 911 the new 988? So thanks for
Mm-hmm.
clarifying that.
And I think because sometimes, right, when you are calling 911, when you're so heightened and you're scared, right? You're scared for
Mhm.
your own safety, but in
Yeah,
terms of you inflicting that on yourself,
yeah.
right? If there's a crime in progress or something and your safety is jeopardized that way, 100% connect with 911. But 988 is just kind of that step before there. You know, can we avoid having to get emergency services involved? How can I keep you safe in your home where you're at?
Mhm.
For sure.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for providing that clarification.
And
Mhm.
I should say in your home or wherever else you are. You might not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was really important to distinguish between, because they are very similar but are very different. Like similar number
Yeah.
wise, but yes, very different in terms of the
Hmm.
services they provide and the reason why you would call.
Yeah, and of course, 988, since it's many organizations across Canada that are participating in this, there's also no in-person option for a 988 like there is the police. The police, you call the police, and they're there. They're there for the public safety. They're there to protect you. 988 is we're over the phone solely.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you so much. So we've heard about how CMHA Halton is a partner with 988. So can you tell us a little bit about what that means in our community?
Yeah, so the Canadian Association of Mental Health and Addiction is taking the lead on the implementation of 988. So CMHA is a partner in that sense, is that they've spearheaded this program, and we have decided to partner with them to fulfill the need within our community.
Okay, that's great.
And CMHA is one of the many partners that you have across the country. Is it CMHA and CAMH and the many distress and crises lines and other
Yeah.
posts across the country, right?
Yeah, there's I don't know off the top of my head what other kind of I could pull that information up though, even in the different kind of areas that they are. But yeah, there's many organizations that are participating, for sure.
Yeah.
Great.
Amazing. It's a great collaboration. It really is.
Yeah, it truly is. I think being able to have so many responders on the line ensures that, like I said earlier, that it doesn't go to voicemail, that you may have to, and typically the phone line rings for 15 seconds at each organization or at each kind of level. So if it's not answered within the first 15 seconds, it should be passed on to the next and to the next and to the next. So ideally, you'll be getting a quick response.
Yeah. Oh, fabulous. I mean, I know we watched 988 roll out in the States, and then Canada did it so quickly, and it's just been incredible. Incredible. So you must be very proud.
Yeah, it's definitely it's amazing that I love that it's a quick number, easy to remember. It's right in the pocket of your hand, for sure.
Yeah. And as Melissa said at the very beginning of the call, so it was just launched in November. So November, it's about 6 months in now. How's everyone feeling about how things are going nationally and indeed locally here in our community?
Yeah, I think things have definitely been going well. 988 does a great job, and at even like the quality assurance portion of the 988 is that they have a whole team of people making sure, reviewing calls, making sure that things are getting done according to their guidelines. Each agency as well is responsible for making sure, like reviewing, all calls are also, I should mention, recorded for training and quality assurance purposes. And the quality assurance is definitely being provided, which is amazing to see and amazing to hear that, they're making sure that the support is being provided in accordance to their guidelines. So being empathetic, being non-judgmental, not pushing kind of resources, like really listening to hear instead of listening to respond, which can make a huge impact, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, it's just it's so exciting to see it start to gain traction. So you must be pretty happy.
Yeah. I think as of right now, CMHA Halton we're not doing texts. I think that's something that eventually we would love to do, which would be very exciting. But I think that aspect of 988 is also a pretty big game changer as well, with this kind of new wave of generation coming in, right? How many people answer their cell, how many of these folks are answering their phones, right? To be able to have that text component is really amazing too, right? Especially for folks who have kind of processing issues or anything like that, being able to type it all out can be so helpful too.
Yeah, that's really good to know. I think, it being a new resource in the community, just being able to provide all this information today has been super helpful. We want to be able to promote and support this line within our community to get, the people that need it, the information to be able to reach out and get the support and help that they need. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us about 988 today?
I think just continuing to promote. Yeah, not that I can think of. I think just the promotion is helpful to have folks in the Halton region really utilizing all the services that they can. Of course, if you already have, a great relationship with the Distress Center or with Coast, that's amazing as well. But that doesn't mean you can't also reach out to 988. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Racheal. It was a pleasure to speak with you today. We are really looking forward to getting this information out in our community and look forward to, all the great work that 988 is going to be able to do in the future.
Thank you. It was great to be here. I appreciate you guys taking the time to learn more about this new program, and I hope that it continues to be utilized within our community.